You know, when they told me I had 10 minutes to do this, I got a little worried. Not because I'm nervous to speak, but because there's really only one thing I can do well in under 10 minutes, and I'm not allowed to talk about that here. What I do is I help people start movements. And for the next 9.5 minutes, I'm going to give you everything that I can to help you start your own movement. Would that be all right? You guys excited to start a movement? Okay. If you will indulge me, please take a moment, put down your pens, close your eyes. Take a deep breath. If you were to start a movement and your work was fully expressed and it was successful to the degree of your wildest dreams, what would that look like? What would it feel like? What would it smell like? Can you taste it? Hold on to that and anchor yourself to that. 10 years from now, what does it look like? Okay, now open your eyes and come back to right now, because right now is what matters. Years ago, I started in internet marketing, and I was very fortunate to be successful at a pretty young age. I'm still a fairly young age, but I'm older than I look. I'm 37. And in '99, I got involved in internet marketing, and I did really well. I had an exit, a couple years later. And I found myself flip-flopping back and forth between what I did for work to make money, but where my heart really was, which was in service. I wanted to give and to love people. And after that, I went and I did volunteer work, and I kind of struggled. Ping-pong back and forth. Does anyone ever feel that way? That they're doing something to pay the bills, but their heart is really somewhere else? And I was experiencing that. And one of my earliest mentors, his name was Dr. Stephen Covey. You may be familiar with him. He wrote 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He gave me some advice that absolutely changed my life. He said, Joseph, if you want to be successful, learn to integrate the spiritual with the secular. And if you're familiar with Dr. Covey's work, that's exactly what he did. And by spiritual, he didn't mean religious necessarily. He was talking about purpose. You may be familiar with the parable of the stonecutters. An old man was traveling, and he came across a stone quarry, and he saw 3 men working. And he asked each of them the same question. He said, "What are you doing?" And to the first, he didn't even look up. He just said, "I'm cutting rock and I'm getting calluses." "Interesting," the old man said. And to the second, he asked, "What are you doing?" And that man stopped, and he looked him in the eye, and he said, "I am earning an honest day's wage to support my family, who I love." Interesting. And he walked to the next, and he asked that person, he said, "What are you doing?" And that man stopped. He lifted his eyes high to the heavens, and he said, "I am building a cathedral to glorify the Most High." You see, what we do matters, but not near as much as why we do it. And I would wager everything that I own that the man who was doing it with a higher gaze was not only getting a high level of satisfaction beyond what the others were doing, but he was probably experiencing a little bit of magic along the way. Have you had those moments, those synchronicity? Those moments when you realize, there is something bigger at play here than me just doing my thing. This is important. And so I gave myself to understanding, how do you start movements? How do you take that purpose, that spirituality, and integrate it with the mechanics of what we do? And what I found is that there is a blueprint. There's a blueprint that every one of us can follow to start a movement. It's 3 simple things. First is a big idea. Now, by big idea, I don't mean that Doc Brown, "Whoa, Marty, I've got it." It's not that eureka moment. By big idea, it's big in that it's bigger than ourselves. It's something that transcends the individual. It's something that inspires us, and it inspires other people to come together where they might otherwise have been divided. A big idea is something that allows people to be different and celebrates that diversity, but still shares a common union. It's something that you're willing to live and give your life for. A big idea is something that you're willing to work your whole life for and not get a single bit of credit when seeing it realized. And the last thing that qualifies a big idea is that in one way or another, it is an expression of the universal truth that we are all one, that we are connected. If you can wrap what you do into that big idea, you're on the start. The second thing you need is a clear message. I teach marketing strategy at the University of Winnipeg, and I put this up and I ask the students, what is he saying? And they all say, I have a dream, right? Most people don't know every word of that 16-minute and 46-second speech, but they know he had a dream. They get it. Can you take your big idea and share it in a way that people get it? And third, you need to have an army of advocates for the cause, the evangelists. There's no way that Dr. King brought 300,000 people out to hear him give that I Have a Dream speech on his own. He had people that bought into the big idea, that made it their own, and did the door knocking for him. Can you get people on board with your big idea? And I share this for years as a speaker. I share this blueprint with people. And every once in a while, a thoughtful person will ask, well, if it's so simple, why isn't everybody doing it? I think that's a great question. But there's actually an answer to it. And I was talking with my business manager, Crystal, about this one day. I said, there's actually a fourth thing. But it comes first. So it's not the fourth thing. It's kind of like the zero thing. And really, it was about this personal power that Gandhi and Dr. King had developed to allow them to be so on fire that other people would join the cause. And when Gandhi was asked by a British journalist what his secret was, this 90-pound man, wearing hand-woven linens, crippled the largest empire on the planet. And his answer was, I make myself zero. And this isn't just personal growth we're talking about. It isn't just learning the things to do and becoming self-disciplined. In fact, I'll tell you a little story. In my ping pong years, I actually was a minister for a number of years, an ordained minister. And one day I was telling this story that not all change is of equal value. We can change ourselves in multiple ways. And really, on one hand, we can change by discipline. We can develop the self-discipline we need to do the things that have to get done. But on the other hand, there's a change that comes much deeper. It's the change of our disposition, our natural inclination to act. So on one hand, we have discipline. On the other, we have disposition. And a young, naive minister, I'm there. I call them my double Ds of change. And it wasn't until the well-endowed woman in the front row started laughing that I realized what I had said, and I just pretended that I didn't mean it that way. But that was the interchange that every one of us have to get to. When you make yourself zero, it's about moving beyond. It's about adopting this idea that my work is not about me, it's about other people. When Gandhi said, I make myself zero, he was referring to a selfless love. So if you'll indulge me for one more second, please close your eyes and think back to what you saw when you're visioning the movement fully culminated. If what you see is not for the well-being of others alone, you are not ready to start a movement. But if what you saw was not about you and was about selfless love to the rest of the planet, you are ready to start a movement. And I will support you in every way that I can. God bless you. I love you.